Alright, so I just wanted to recap my experience arriving into Fairy Creek. So I came here yesterday afternoon and I started off completely bewildered and a little bit overwhelmed and just curious to try and get information as to what was going on. First impressions was that things were kind of sporadic and disorganized, and it was hard to get any information. I ended up going up to R&R, and I was originally planning to help someone named Mycelium with media the next morning. But when I got back down to the Y, which is where the gate was to lead to some of the other camps, there was what they call a blob forming, where several people will link arms facing outwards in a circle with their hands behind their back, with another layer of people holding on to the people on the outside by their shoulders, and the people in the center being those to carry supplies in, or who are medics, or those who were not supposed to be arrested. And originally we were blocking the gate from the police to get in and potentially arrest or cause havoc in the other camps up the road. And while that was happening, the police just simply took chainsaws and cut down some of the forest alongside the gate so they can drive through. After that was happening and some vehicles got through, the blob tried to move into the way of the new opening they created, and in doing so we moved further inside the gate where the police's line was, and we decided to cross it. So as it happened, by random chance, I was in the outside circle, but I happened to be in the part that went past the police line, and they started to push us back using their arms in our necks and in our chests and pushing us. And some people they were physically hitting and punching, and I had no way to get out of the way. I was linking arms with other people, and there was a whole group of people behind me. So I was just being pushed by both sides, from the blob trying to move forward and get supplies into the other camps and help people, and the police pushing back. And then they started to try and remove people from our group by taking hold of them and tearing them out from the arm locks by just using force. And after they got a few people, they decided to start to pepper spray us individually in the face. Some people they pepper sprayed even further along their chest, along their pants, so it would seep in and get onto their skin. I was pepper sprayed along this side of my face completely, and I still linked arms and I was still holding on tight. But shortly after that, they managed to rip me from the group of people, and then I got tackled to the ground. After that, they put some zip ties on my arms and moved me over to the side with some other people that they were forcefully removing from the group. Luckily enough, though, I didn't have the worst of the situation. When I seen the pepper spray cans come out, I started to breathe deeper. And when I seen that I was about to get sprayed, I breathed in deep and I held my breath. And I closed my eyes tight and I closed my mouth tight, and they sprayed me across the face. I held my breath in as this was happening. And I held my breath in for as long as I could afterwards. And I blew out through my lips. And that way I avoided getting any pepper spray in my mouth or in my lungs. And I avoided getting it into my eyes for the most part. Some pepper spray managed to seep through my eyelids, And anytime I moved my eyelids at all or tried to open at all, more pepper spray got in. So after we were removed, I couldn't see anymore, so I don't know what happened to the rest of the group. But eventually we were put into the police van and we were taken to Lake Cowichan, about an hour away. And in the meantime, there were several of us pepper sprayed in the van. They put us all in the same separated compartment, and the air was very thick with pepper spray. When they let us out, though, there was lots of support for us from the arrestees' support. They had food and water, and they were kind and caring and understanding. When I got removed from the vehicle by the police, they quickly noticed that I couldn't see, that my eyes were closed, and that I was pepper sprayed. And they grabbed me by the shoulder on either side, and they walked me over to safety, just in the parking lot. And later they walked me across the road into a park. And of course, they started to pour milk on my face to try and wash off the pepper spray. And they poured some milk into my eyes to get the pepper spray out so I could see again. And everyone was in good spirits there, high spirits. The arrest support was very strong. And they gave us, they had an abundance of food for us to eat, had some water, and as much as they could to try and make us feel comfortable. There was probably about maybe 25 of us that got taken, that were arrested in that batch. We weren't actually arrested because they never said we were under arrest. They never read us our rights. They never took our names or IDs. It was more of a catch and release to weaken the group, the blob, and to prevent us from moving too far into the injunction. But afterwards, after we got all cleaned up for the most part and fed, we were all driven back into Fairy Creek. And the ride that I got was lovely. They had some fresh baked muffins from a local cafe and some drinks and some salads and things. And they were very friendly, very kind. They were just some people from Victoria that came up to bring supplies, some donations for the camp. And they also decided to go out and help the arrestees. So I wasn't really planning to go and get arrested in such a means on my first morning. I was kind of planning to go and help with the media, and didn't realize how severe things were going to be, because everyone that's protesting at Fairy Creek has been peaceful the whole time, but the police have been upping their ante. They have been getting more annoyed. They have been becoming more violent. And I just happened to arrive at a time where they are being more violent in the extraction of people. And yeah, so it's been a rude awakening into Fairy Creek, but a lot of people have been dealing with this for a little bit of time now. And unfortunately, me being, I don't like to say it, but a white male, I generally get treated better than some of the other individuals, such as females, people of color, or non-binary people. They're often targeted, especially First Nations people are treated the worst. They try to separate them from the group and separate them from any of the media, and then proceed to violently beat them and shout at them and mentally and psychologically abuse them and whatever else. So I've decided that, or I've volunteered to go up to Waterfall Camp tomorrow to get chained into a dragon in order to prevent them from getting to, I believe, what's called the Peaks Camp, and shutting that down as well. We did manage to move the line back and gain some ground, but the police also did manage to take out River Camp and arrest people there, I presume violently and with pepper spray. And they destroyed all of the infrastructure there, the kitchen and supplies, and they had a helicopter come in to take everything that they could, food, supplies, equipment, people's personal belongings, and they just raided the camp completely. So I volunteered to go up to Waterfall Camp to try and get locked into a dragon, which is basically a metal pipe that's buried into the ground with a chain at the other end that I'll stick my arm into and clip myself to that chain with a leather strap around my wrist. And that'll be in a ditch in the road that physically prevents the police or loggers from going any further until they can dig up the dragon and cut it off of our arms and arrest us. Of course, I didn't want to do this either, but there's not a lot of people left at Waterfall Camp. There was only 4 people left as far as I heard from someone that was up there. And they needed people, they needed manpower and they needed support. And amongst the group, the circle, the meeting today of perhaps 100 people, there was nobody that was volunteering to go up. And when they asked who here is arrestable, I put up my arm thinking that there would be several others putting up their arm as well. And I was also contemplating going up to River Camp anyways to see and experience, Waterfall Camp, more places. And then I ended up volunteering to do it. So I'm nervous about my extraction from the road blockade tomorrow. And I'm concerned that they're going to be kicking and potentially punching me and shouting at me while I'm clipped into a tube in the ground, trying to convince me to unclip myself and be taken away. My biggest worry is that they're going to be using violence on me while they're trying to extract me from the ground. It's really makes my heart sink to hear about what's been happening to other people, and from my firsthand experience to have been maced on my first day. But I'll try and get some more footage of what's happening here, and I'll be talking with you some more to let you know of what my experiences are.